According to a report by Common Sense Media in 2015, 75% of teenagers in America currently have profiles on social networking sites. With so many children using the internet and social media, they are vulnerable to cyberbullying, sexting, loss of privacy, sharing too much information, disconnect from reality, and becoming more body conscious. Cyberbullying is defined as the use of electronic communication to bully a person. It ranges from direct threats and unpleasant emails to trolling. According to the Pew Research Center, 39% of teens on social networks have been cyberbullied. Sexting is defined as sending, receiving, or forwarding sexually explicit messages, photographs, or images via cell phone, computer, or other devices. A nationwide survey by the National Campaign to Support Teen and Unplanned Pregnancy found 20% of teens participate in sexting. Not only can sexting humiliate a child, but it is considered a felony. A 2015 study by Pew Research Center found that 92% of American teenagers report going online daily, and 24% say that they go online almost constantly. The report also found that 73% of children ages 13 to 17 have access to a smartphone. Children and teenagers do not interact or communicate with each other face-to-face anymore. They communicate screen to screen. With 75% of teenagers on social networking sites and 60% of children using social media by the age of 10, they are becoming more and more body conscious. We now live in a society that strives for likes. Popularity is based on likes and follows, which is influencing children's and teenagers' self-esteem. Dr. Jennifer Powell-Lunder, a psychologist who specializes on this topic, says some of the factors that influence children's self-esteem are positive or negative feedback on posts, the number of likes received, how many followers they have, and how often they are tagged in pictures or posts.
The rise in technology and the evolution of social media has made Generation Z, also known as iGen, the most app-friendly generation. They have been shaped by and in turn shaping technology and social media in different aspects. My name is Shanza, and my first encounter with social media was when I was 9 years old, whereas my younger cousins, who are also part of Generation Z, were introduced to it when they were only a couple months old, and since then they have been active viewers of YouTube videos. They grew up in an era where they had instant access to high-speed internet and social media. They have been influenced both negatively and positively by the norm of sharing everything on social media. Some of the positive effects are that this generation is definitely a lot more aware at a younger age since they're exposed to all sorts of content on social media. They understand and learn more knowledge of their interest, express themselves, become more diverse, and also be exposed to criticism. Social media has also changed the form of communication. Communication today is very basic and to the point, causing less interaction between teenagers and parents. Social media has also decreased the amount of physical interaction between people. Kids seem to be on their phones all the time. Interaction through social media is done using misspelled words and abbreviations. Teenagers have the choice to respond to someone if they will like or not. They also have time to delete and edit their responses.
Instagram?
Oh, yeah, Instagram.
Okay.
On Instagram, people can comment, like, on your photos, like, oh, you look really pretty and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah. These kids love their likes, too.
Gives you a good feeling when someone likes the picture. I like it when people like my pictures, and it makes me feel really good.
Ah, but what about fame?
It would be awesome. Like, well, I mean, like, everybody would know your name and stuff. Everyone would just be all over you asking for your autograph. That's really hard.
That's a hard question.
Because, like, who doesn't want to be famous?
So why the change in values? Researcher Yalda Ools, mother of two teenagers, says It's no wonder. It's all around them.
Television had been around, forever. It's been around since the 50s, but the major change was social media. And these kids at this very young age were aware of it, and they were using it. And on top of it, the reason we think that television shows were now communicating this concept of fame to these kids, they were just reflecting what these kids already were doing.
The show she grew up with, remember the Andy Griffith Show, Happy Days, I Love Lucy, Laverne and Shirley, they had a whole different set of values, family values, a sense of community. Not anymore. She started comparing them to the shows her kids were watching. This one, Hannah Montana, about a teenager by day, famous rock star by night. And then, the mother of all shows about the pursuit of fame, American Idol.
And we looked to see what were the values that were communicated in these shows. And what we found was that the number one value in those shows, out of a list of 16 values, was fame. And what was very interesting is that in every other decade, it was number 15 or 16.
Doesn't Richard look nice tonight?
That warm and fuzzy community feeling, gone.
So it's a complete flip.
Complete flip.
And that's not all. The online world today's teenagers are living in may bring them the fame and fortune they crave, but it can also bring heartbreak and bullying. Amanda Todd, Rehtaeh Parsons, Jamie Hubley. The list of victims grows. The dark side of the wired world.
Children are being victimized through the media, which is something that never happened to the youth before the 90s. When children utilize the internet, or more importantly, forms of media, it's just an easier and more accessible path for criminals to take advantage of young children. Here's a quote from Fort Wayne FBI agent. Social media has opened up access. Before you had to go sit in front of a school or other places where kids play to find kids who might be susceptible. Now you just hop online to find them. In the case, Thyman versus United States, a man is convicted of several counts of child pornography and intention of violence to a minor. One of his punishments was completely eliminated access to a computer after he was released from his sentence of 20 years in prison. However, the courts had to shut this case down due to Thyman's First Amendment right that all citizens are allowed to search and receive information. It is important to consider on how to protect Generation Z from the dangers of social media by teaching not only children but the parents on how to go about how to educate them on the dangers of this media. Being naive is the first step to becoming a victim. Think before posting, choose your audience wisely. Think before posting. Is this how I want to be perceived? Mandating and reforming laws is also really important to consider, as it is for the safety of our younger generation, as they are the future for our world.